you guys saw the movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock about that spaceship. Well, these are not parts for that spaceship. This is for a different spaceship. So I'm loading in Quincy, Illinois. And the cool thing I wanted to show is that this crane that's loading me, it's like a very big crane, kind of like what they use at construction sites. And it's remotely operated. You know, I never saw a crane like this, where a guy actually walks, you know, on the ground with a remote controller, because it's so big. Look, there's no cabin there, right? There's just counterweights and everything. And there's a huge boom. And I'm picking up these metal tanks. They're probably used for propane, I'm assuming, or maybe oil or something. And they put them on these bunks, and that's what I was arguing with people, because they wanted to put them right under my bed, and then we compromised. So now on my trailer they're using these carpets. They're using these carpets underneath, so it should be okay. I'm getting 30 pieces. Yeah, here's what it looks like from the back. See all these tanks. It's a very elaborate system of bunks. You know, they're difficult to load. It takes a long time. And I'm all done. The load is secure, ready to go. Well, that's it. I moved out of the plant because, you know, the law in trucking is that paperwork always takes longer to prepare than loading and securing the load. And it's always amazes me. Like now it's 12:17 Eastern time, so 11:17 here because I'm in Illinois. And I was here at 8. Local time, right? So 3 hours, but I guess they had to copy those serial numbers. You know, each tank has a serial number. And actually, I have a theory. Anyway, and they needed that space, so they said, please come out of the plant. So I'm sitting next to an office building, next to a highway. You know, people are zooming by at 100 miles an hour, but who cares, right? Oh, and so I have a theory, because I'm going to the northern Ontario where there's lots of lakes. Oh, sorry, my glasses are steaming. And it's still kind of light, even though it's cloudy, I don't know. So I got a theory. So these tanks, what they do is they buy them, I asked them what these tanks are for, and the guy says propane, any kind of gas, basically. And I said, are there any other uses? And the guy looks at me and I say, because I have a theory. I'm going to a rich area rich with lakes. Lousy with lakes, as Salinger used to say. Lousy with something. Rich. And I think what they do, you know, Canadians are very smart. So what they do is they cut a hatch in the top of each tank, and they install a seat. And all you need is a little engine and maybe a propeller in the back, and you got yourself a extremely cheap, extremely durable submarine. And then they're gonna use that submarine to cross back into US, you know, and resell this to Mexicans, because Mexicans buy anything, you know, and it would be difficult to export this directly from here, because these are submarines, right? They probably come under some kind of Protection Act or something, some defense thing, but this way, you know, they're kind of sneaky. So that's what they do. Or another use, I'm thinking, is that they can use these submarines, like homemade submarines, they can use them for fishing. I don't think it will be a good idea to dive in these in winter, because now it's already November, you know, because you can freeze. There's no insulation inside. But in the summer, heck, you know, they can even probably do like a rental thing, you know, and just offer these for rents, for renting to tourists, you know, that want to dive in and look at that stupid fish sitting at the bottom. So it's one cool load. So, you know, it's like every time it's different, right? So first I haul spaceships, now I'm hauling submarines. So what do you do? As long as they pay the big bucks, right?
Now, one more thing about this load. I finally started driving. Waited probably an hour for the paperwork. And the first track stop was about 15 minutes away. And I decided to stop to grab some coffee because I had not eaten anything since morning and it was already noon. And I needed to check the load because these tanks, they move, you know. And by law, you're supposed to stop during the first, 50 miles or 1 hour. And so I did that, checked my straps, tightened them, got coffee, you know, some snacks. And then talked to the dispatch, everything's good. They were going to send me my electronic manifest, but I still couldn't send the paperwork. The internet was pretty bad, like the speed was very low. And I asked the guy, I said, send me the manifest, I'll take care of the broker. And he says, oh no, don't worry about it. We already have copies of all the paperwork you received from the shipper. We already have it, so we'll take care of it. Okay. But he says, make sure you call the point, you know, in North Bay and New Liskeard where you deliver. Make sure they know you're coming. And he says, call right away. So I was in Barrie, Illinois. Just left there like 15 minutes ago. So I called the guy that his name and phone number is on all my paperwork. Says, important message, make sure you call this guy before you leave the plant. So I call the guy, apologize, and say, hey, I already left the plant, you know, what are you going to do? I'm like 15 minutes away. And the guy says, when are you coming? I say, Monday. And he starts laughing. You know, I said, well, what's so funny? Oh, we didn't expect you for the next, till the next week, like till next Monday. And that's what happens, another thing that's very typical in trucking, that there's always miscommunication. Especially when there's more than one broker is involved, so people don't know when you're coming, you know, the crane cannot be ordered, stuff like that. So this guy laughs at me, right? I said Monday, and then he says, who do you drive for? I say, Landstar, and he says, you have a boom truck? And I'm like, what? Why would I want a boom truck? I'm a long-haul trucker. My job is to pick up these tanks at point A and deliver them to point B. And this guy says, I don't know how you got this load, but this was supposed to be the shipper's truck, because that plant where they make these tanks, they have their own trucks, and they're all boom trucks, you know, with a crane behind the cab. But those are like really expensive, really heavy, you know. Why would I want to, I told this guy, I said, why would I want a boom truck that costs probably $200,000 if I already paid $64,000 for this truck, you know? I'm a highway trucker. So he starts laughing again. He says, oh, then don't bother to come because we have no way of unloading you. I said, really? He says, yeah, really, we don't have any crane or forklift or anything. Like, you know, sometimes you gotta wonder, how do people operate some kind of a fuel company up there in Canada and they receive these tanks? And he says, well, normally when the shipper brings them on their own truck, they unload them and they do everything for us. Well, I said, well, I'm not one of those, you know? So that's what sometimes can happen, you know, it's miscommunication, and then I called the dispatcher again, and turns out the salesperson at this company, at the shipper, was supposed to arrange for a crane, I guess, with their own money, I don't know. Anyway, they told me, they gave me a green light, because I thought they would turn me around and send me back to the shipper, which would be a really bad thing, you know, since I already spent half a day there, and I drove 250 miles from my last drop. So the guy said, okay, make sure you're there Monday. Okay. this way, at least if something happens, at least I already drove with these things, right? So this way they have to pay. Because if they would tell me over there in Barry, Illinois, like 20 miles down the road, that we're not going to unload you, it would be pretty bad. So I'm glad at least that I'm driving. But that's one of those weird loads, And also, which reminds me, I think I dealt with this Landstar agent before, because I remember his name and like his voice sounds familiar. And now I remember that last time it was the same thing. He has some of, I guess his customers are, like this, because there was also a lot of discussion going back and forth about a load. And then they were postponing, then I started driving, and he called me back and he said it was canceled. Yeah, I remember now. It was a load from US to Canada, and I was in Canada, so I started driving to US empty, and he stopped me, turned me around, and never even paid me any money. So I don't think I want to deal with this guy again, because it looks like he has too many problem customers. That's what I'm saying. Alright, so that was the Landstar agent saying he has my customs paperwork, everything is cool as far as customs is concerned, but he still has not heard from the lady that's supposed to order the crane. So I'm driving, and I guess I'll just, maybe wait at home in Cambridge, because I'm going basically right through Cambridge where I live, or where I park my truck, because that North Bay, it's 4 hours north of Cambridge, so it's like it's a big town, and actually the road is pretty good all the way to North Bay. After that it becomes a 2-lane, but to North Bay it's pretty much all the interstate now. But I'd really love to get a confirmation for the crane appointment before I leave. Otherwise, what's the point? Burning fuel, driving 4 hours to North Bay, and then they tell you, hey, we cannot unload you. You got what? I have to pay for my own crane? What kind of BS is this? So maybe I'll just stop at Cambridge, park the truck, and tell them, you know what? I need to know the crane is there, because I'm not driving 400 kilometers for nothing. And actually, it helps that I have a second trailer, right? I'm not too worried. I'll drop this one, hook up to my flatbed, and keep making money. Hey! So basically, to cut a long story short, trucking is one crazy business. Thanks for watching. This was SERGEI DRATCHEV.